Very descriptive.
I'm Rebecca with the 501st and the Rebel Legion.
My name is John Ficker. I've been a member of the 501st since 2003. I'm also a member of the Mandalorian Mercs and the Rebel Legion. I've actually gotten to work on Star Wars product line at Hasbro. I'm a product designer in real life. Currently, I'm finishing up designing military body.
I'm Matthew Wells. I'm with the Mandalorian Mercs Costuming Club. I've been with them 4 years now. Current explorer of the Ohio clan. So I have the Ohio clan, and I'm going to turn it over to Dave.
All right, I'm Dave Quillen. I'm with the Mercs, the 501st, and the Rebel Legion as well. I've been doing this for about 4 years. I run the Ohio chapter of the Mandalorian Mercs, the Rancor clan.
I'm Charles Craig, 501st, prop maker. And I've actually not been with the 501st very long, but I've been associated with all three groups for many years.
And this is Lisa
Supplying
Ford.
guns.
I'm Lisa. Yeah, I'm Lisa Ford, and my counterpart. This is Alex Ford. We've been doing Star Wars costuming for about 10 years now. I'm with Rebel Legion 501st. He's Rebel Legion.
And Alex will be suiting up today as C-3PO while we are having, as we're having our presentation.
So you get to have a fun show as I assemble the droid in front of you.
So just to show you what all is involved in that type of costume, and it takes about 40 minutes or so
About 40 minutes, yeah.
to suit up as C-3PO.
I may have to slow down.
Oh, that works too. You must have perfected it.
I am
Last
getting
time.
faster at it, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. As far as the format today, it's going to be very informal, so if you have any questions, please just raise your hand and we'll try to answer them as quickly as possible.
And we have Brandon modeling for the Mando Mercs.
Oh, there we go. That's our Vanna White. Great round of applause. And let's give Alex a round of applause for
Suffering.
That's preemptive.
You'll see, he's made to suffer, so.
Should want to switch them off.
right now we're just going to do a little brief intro on each group. And Dave, if you want to start with the Mandos.
Okay. Mandalorian Mercs have been around for about 6 years now. They started out of a gaming guild on Galaxies way back when. Rebel Legion and 501st have been around a lot longer. We have 815 members right now as of, I think, the last approval process that went through earlier this week, which is kind of cool. Mercs is a little bit different than the other groups. We really promote the custom feature that the Mandalorians embody in the books and the extended universe. I don't think you're ever going to find two Mandalorians that look exactly alike. Even if you stand a couple Boba and Jango Fett together, there's going to be slight variations. But we have, like Brandon over here, has a modern era kit. It has his own color that he chose. His jetpack's a little bit different than anybody else's you're going to see. He does carry a very popular Mandalorian weapon, a Verpine Shadow Rifle. But we're all a little bit different and we have fun. We work real well hand in hand with the other groups in Ohio here.
John, would you like to talk about the 501st?
Yeah, the 501st has been around for probably about 16 years now at this point. It started out as just a small group of people going, hey, I like this, found that I can get a Stormtrooper costume. I want to get that. Hey, there's somebody else that has it. Let's have a little website, and it kind of turned into now we're up to 7,500 members worldwide active. We actually used to do our ID numbers were 4 digits. We've now had to bump it up to 5 digits just because we've run out of numbers for members. So people who are older like me are 4-digit. People who are newer like her are now a 5-digit number. The focus with the 501st and with the sister group of the Rebel Legion and also the Mandalorians is, doing the whole costuming hobby is a focus on charity. We always operate as non-profit or not-for-profit. We go out and volunteer our time. Whenever you see us at a walk, at a convention, whatever, we're not paid. We're not usually compensated beyond potentially like a free pass to a convention or something like that. But we always focus on the charity. So we'll do a lot of hospital visits, charity walks, things like that. Like Dave said, the Mandalorians by nature are, unless you're doing a screen scene Mando like Boba Fett or Jango Fett, which has to be what it's like. Otherwise, it's kind of free to imagination. You know, they're only seen kind of in comics or described in books, so they're able to do totally out of your mind what they do. 501st and Rebel Legion focuses on being screen accurate, so you have to create things that look like they are exactly as they were seen on screen.
Okay. As Rebel Legion, we have been around for 11, 12 years. We have 2,500 members worldwide. And again, like the 501st, we are a canon-based costuming group, which means we have a set of standards, as does the 501st and the Mandos, that costumes have to meet requirements. And we focus on, of course, the good guys and gals in the Star Wars galaxy, which would be Princess Leia, C-3PO, Jedi, including Ahsoka, Rebel pilots, troopers, anything related to the good guys and gals, others in the Republic or the Rebel Alliance. And we also focus on a lot of charity events, Make-A-Wish Foundation, hospital visits, charity walks, things of that nature. And we also have, I think, for all three groups, if you're interested, we have brochures and business cards for our group. So if you're interested in joining, please let us know. We'll give you one of these. And we also have 2 booth areas. As soon as you walk into the convention hall, the Rebel Legion 501st booth is on the right. We have a replica of a speeder bike, which was built by several members on this panel. And we're also hosting a diplomatic mission game, which will enable players, if you're interested, to complete the Death Star plans. And you can turn in the badge after you've completed it to enter a raffle that you can win a General Giant exclusive San Diego Comic-Con Boba Fett bust. But the caveat of that is, you have to complete the badge without being caught by stormtroopers. If you're caught by the stormtroopers, they will steal the plans. So you have to avoid capture. And the Mando booth is across from the Back to the Future vehicle.
Down by the DeLorean and the Batmobile. We also have a raffle going on. I think everybody got raffle tickets. We have a Rancor Clan hoodies, a t-shirt, it's a big grab bag of Star Wars stuff.
And all the proceeds for this one actually goes to our Verdika Fund, which means Little Warrior. It's our year-round fund that we have on our website. Everybody can donate to from the front page. Effectively what it does is we collect money throughout the year, and then certain clans will apply for that money, and then they'll take it and effectively do Christmas for several families throughout the United States. That's specifically toys for the children and then dinner for the entire family.
Okay. Is there anything else we want to cover before we open it to Q&A? Okay.
Want to mention the 501st origin. A lot of it goes back to there was a guy who saw how powerful and great it was to see lots of stormtroopers at a convention, and isn't it awesome when it's more than just one guy? Unfortunately, his daughter contracted cancer, and her wish, as she was getting sicker and sicker, was to have an R2-D2 to watch over her when she slept. So he started contacting other people who did Star Wars costumes throughout the country, asking him to send bits and pieces of an R2-D2 so he could build it for his daughter, unfortunately, before she died. Her name was Katie. And through that process of connecting everyone together and trying to get the R2 built in time for Katie, it ended up being R2-KT, which later on was canonized by Lucasfilm with the pink R2-D2 that is Ahsoka's R2-D2. The pink R2-D2 was originally made for this young girl. That's why for 501st, which started first, and Rebel Legion that followed later, it was so important to work with Make-A-Wish because it was this family's wish and what we could do, and really Katie that brought us all together.
Thank you. Okay, I will open it to questions. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
If you're interested in how we make a certain part, what it's like being in the costume, any questions?
Yes, sir.
How long and approximately how much does it cost to make a costume?
That's a totally open-ended question because it's there's many ways to skin the cat. Sometimes you can build it with stills and from scratch. Sometimes you do building the costume with money, as we call it, where you might pay somebody else to do it for you. So depending, if you buy the costume, it can arrive pretty much ready to go, and all you've done is, I open it up and in a half hour I've assembled it and put it on and wear it. If you're working on building it yourself, it can take any amount of time,
as far as how long, I've been approved for 4 years. I've been upgrading ever since then. What I'm wearing now barely resembles what I got approved as. The jetpack, I finished last month.
One of the
It's the newest part.
coolest things I've ever seen is actually describes our stuff very well. It's one of those circles that says choose one. One is money, one is time, and one is quality. Right? It says choose two, I'm sorry. And effectively you can choose two of those, and like the more money you want to put into it, you can do quality with that or time with that. You have less time, more time, depending on the money. It's all, that didn't make sense at all. Did it?
No, I know where you're going with it.
It's when you're going to get something, like if you're paying someone to do something, the three options are quality, speed, and price. And you can choose two. Like if you pay really high, we usually get quality, but it might take longer. Or if you want speed, then the quality may be lower. So it's kind of that's the whole choose two out of three. But just like time frame, it's also like we were saying, what you're able to do, and sometimes like what motivates you. Like Bly, you'll see me wearing this after the panel and the suit up. I got Bly done from raw vacuum form kit to finished wearable costume in 11 days. Now I also, like, just like any costume, I upgraded. And since then, I replaced the shoes. I kind of fixed up the blaster rifle kind of thing. But what I was doing was I would, like, go to work and, like, sew away body armor prototypes. As soon as I was like, lunchtime, hot food, and then would, like, sew or work on something until, like, about 1:15, 1:20. I'm kind of like, all right, maybe I should get back to work on stuff. As soon as it was done, it's like 5 o'clock, I'm out the door, home, shove dinner in my face, and I would, like, work until, like, 2 or 3 a.m., go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again, kind of thing. So you can sometimes when you're motivated for an event or something like that, you can kind of like really compress the time schedule. I mean, otherwise, there's costumes like my Darth Vader was like in progress for about 3 or 4 years, and so my Vader's another good example too, of like where my Vader only cost me $850 because I sewed all the soft goods myself. I built the chest box from scratch, belt boxes from scratch. I made the bodysuit. I got a $100 helmet and put all this time and effort into re-sculpting parts of it and fixing it up. So it looks just like a $1,500 fiberglass helmet, but it's made out of ABS and it looks just the same. So like I said, it's kind of a balance. I mean, typically if you want some like rough numbers, at least from the 501st perspective, the cheapest like 501st approvable costume would probably be like a crewman. It's probably like $300 to $350 when you count boots, belt, hat, flight suit, patches, rank badge, stuff like that. Highest end costumes in the 501st realm are Vader and Boba Fett because they're going to be like five grand potentially by the time you're all done. By the time you kind of upgrade, if you get like the premium stuff, there's things too like with costumes. If you do things like make it out of vinyl versus making it out of actual leather, there's a price difference there. Mandalorians, you can do, that pilot which I did 3 or 4 years ago, which I'm really good because it was rushed. That was probably $300 worth of cost, but it was a lot of time because I was scratch building stuff. So there's like I said, there's a trade-off of putting in the work yourself versus buying things completely.
I'm curious, what character would you be? Like, what would you consider?
Do you have an interest in that?
Give you an estimate.
Honestly, I have to say like either a clone or a Mandalorian.
I'd say Mando, you're probably looking at least $500 probably.
Realistically, by the time it's said and done.
Yeah, well, $100 for the helmet, $100 for flight suits, all that kind of stuff.
I did everything scratch built, so I have to. On our site, we have, my first kit was actually a completely scratch built stuff. On our site, we have all the templates for all of our armor and even for our helmet. It's a lot more time, but it's a lot less money. I actually got out of it with $150 on my first round. I've since made another kit, and it cost me a lot more, but you can do it with a minimal budget. The quality of my first one wasn't 100%, I will admit to that, but it still looked good. It's just a matter of the time and effort you want to put into it at that point.
Clone Trooper is probably going to be about $1,000, just because the kits for the armor run anywhere between $500 or $600 up to like $800.
Yeah.
You get like say $100 for gloves, Under Armour, balaclava. You run out and you're buying like $50 worth of spray paint, glue, stuff like that. So You know, and then if you put like helmet fans in or light kits, and that's the other thing too, you can drive up Mandalorian. If you put like, get like chest lights or LEDs or stuff like that, you know, spruce it up, kind of, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know, it can add price, you know. And that's the thing, is like you'll find Stormtrooper, and you know, Stormtrooper armor that guy might get it for $800, and some guys go extreme where they've got like microphone and speakers, and they've got the fans, they've got voice effects stuff, they've got like extra metal pieces, doodads on the belts, you know, so it's like, it's kind of this like ever escalating scale. It's like once you start down the costuming path, forever will dominate your destiny.
It also kind of depends on your electronics ability too. I saw a Stormtrooper helmet in Michigan that he probably put $10,000 or $12,000 in. It had video screens, it had sound systems, he had a recorder built onto his arm piece so he could record in real time.
It's linked to the internet.
Internet access.
Pilot where you look and the screens focus into his eyes. So he wants to look out of his lenses, he's looking at the cameras, is how he saw.
But that's what he kind of did for a living, was the electronics, and so he put all that.
Link to the internet too.
Yeah. He could link to the internet, he could record stuff and immediately upload it of what he was seeing at conventions. It was pretty amazing.
And some of our costumes can qualify for more than one group. Which I was just thinking of these three helmets here, the two clones and Bausch. That's how I pronounce it. No one really knows how to pronounce her name. But when Leia was as the bounty hunter, all three of these helmets can, or the characters rather, can join both Rebel Legion and the 501st. Of course, Boba Fett can join, and Jango, 501st, and the Mandalorian Mercs. So there are some costumes that you can have dual membership with.
We have other ones in the 501st, certain costumes share components, so you can get a crewman. You buy a Navy trooper helmet, and then you now have technically another costume. You buy like TIE fighter pilot armor or chest armor, and you wear the same belt, flight suit, gloves, boots. You have another costume, you know, so it's like you can share all these parts, you know, that way kind of thing. That's what a lot of guys do sometimes. They buy, like, you know, they do those costumes and they kind of, you know, share
Start
parts.
as a crewman, then as you get into the group, more money.
But basically, the short answer is all the monies.
How much do you make?
It's also more expensive when you ship it from other countries.
Yeah.
I can't make anything, and my Bausch cost a lot from England, but the shipping cost itself could have been like another costume.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the thing you find, like with the online presence, there's people in all parts of the country or all parts of the world that make stuff. I mean, sometimes there is only a person in like one country who's like the main go-to person or preferred person. You know, that's the one thing we find is like shipping overseas can be such a pain in the butt because literally it's like I've had people from Australia I've made like some Mando helmets for and like leather goods and armor pieces and stuff. And it costs, you know, I'm charging them like say $450 for like there was one that did all the leather goods, gauntlet kits, pistols, you know, all that kind of stuff. I charged $450. It cost like $110 or $120 to ship, and that was even still packing it down in a pretty tight little box, you know. So there's sometimes a lot of cost just incurred in shipping stuff, depending on where you source it from.
I was looking at a Gamorrean guard costume from the fellow in the UK that makes the Gamorrean pieces, and they're out of latex. And of course, these pieces are quite large. You have to take your leg and arms into one solid piece. And I think the kit would have been around $1,400, but shipping would have been close to $800. So, news is that I didn't get that kit.
You want to talk about 3PO?
Oh, please, go right ahead.
Well, as far as the Rebel Legion is concerned, it's probably one of the higher priced and
It's like the
more
lowest end
complicated.
costume, highest end costume. My original layout I did for $20. Just a real simple knit fabric. I've gone through 3 dresses since then and lots of different hair pieces. Whereas 3PO, you can buy the fiberglass kit, but it's going to require that, first of all, you're the right size, which is very difficult, as you'll see when I try to close the chest piece in a few minutes. And then 3PO itself is expensive because of the chrome plating.
That's okay.
Back
Yeah.
metalized?
Sorry?
Back metalized?
Yes. There's different finishes you can put on these depending on which 3PO you want to go with, the dirty one or the shiny one. This is all vacuum metalized. Thank you. This is all vacuum metalized, which in and of itself for the whole suit costs about $1,200. So this whole suit, we got about $5,000 in just right here, which is scary.
I think I can fit in it.
What's that?
So I think I can fit in it.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I paid for my car, by the way.
Sorry, I turned it the wrong way.
And speaking of cars, it's always fun too, like just insight to like costumers like us, like you start finding yourself like always gearing towards buying a vehicle of like will and armor tub fitments. You have this giant Tupperware, giant armor bins or the Stanley construction tips and stuff like that. And literally that's like a requirement. When I go and like look at a new car, it's like, well, that won't fit an armor bin. I'd only be able to get one armor bin in this, I really need to be able to carry two, so it's like, it's kind of funny how
the audience and you're not helping.
It's like how many you want to carry. Really what it comes down to.
That's why now I have a pickup truck with a camper shell on it.
Yep.
I drove up here from Georgia and I've had 2 big armor tubs plus like a duffel bag, just for basically today and tomorrow. Anyway, yeah.
I'm of course a bigger guy,
Yeah.
and I know this is a question that I've seen on the forums and stuff online and everything they do. Sometimes it's hard for bigger guys or gals to find costumes to wear. What are good suggestions for plus size people?
Within like armor around the watch, it's like soft goods kind of stuff. I mean, if you're going like Rebel Legion kind of thing, you get like Jedi robes, stuff like that. If I went first, anything like white suits, a couple guys have done like Royal Guards, TIE fighter pilots, officers, stuff like that. Mando's a good one too. And obviously something like a
First off, I'm going to stand up. I'm not exactly a small individual.
It might not be practical to do a stormtrooper or a clone for you if you're a big guy. There are costumes out there, definitely.
I mean, I can live with never being C-3PO,
But you know what? There's clones out there and stormtroopers out there that you could do. I mean, you can, if you're willing to put the work into the costume and get enough, absolutely, and it would look good. We have a lot of big guys in the Mandalorians. Just because for that, they want to wear armor, but they don't want to look out of place because if you stand next to, these guys and their clones and you're a big guy, you kind of stand out. So they'll, Mandalorians, hey, we're big guys, that's okay.
We have
Sometimes
a
they're
guy
little guys
that's
too.
bigger than both of you. That's probably going to be dressed as a Jedi today over at the booth.
Yeah.
But don't tell me so.
I'm going to give a shout out to
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of soft fabric-based costumes. Jedi would be one, Rebel pilots would be another. Even Tusken Raiders. You can join those legions with those, and they're not exactly comfortable because it's usually a rubber helmet that you put on. You can only see out of this, but it's an option. So there are many options out there for people who are of not small stature.
One that Chuck just mentioned, Snowtrooper. If you want to kind of go the Stormtrooper route, Snowtrooper is a great costume for bigger guys. Yeah, it's mostly
couple
soft.
panels, but it's mostly soft.
Yeah, it's movable. I like them because you can move and sit down, go to the bathroom.
And you can wear that in Ohio.
Another fun thing too is, something else to look at like soft goods wise, is sometimes a lot of expanded universe characters that may not be approvable necessarily to be maybe a first legion kind of, but there's a lot of like expanded universe like Jedi or smuggler types or stuff like that. A lot of times you might wow somebody because like, oh, I haven't seen that costume.
And with the Rebel Legion, you're able to have a little bit of customization with your Jedi, so not everyone looks the same. So,
Yeah, it's doing base character, screen scene, it's doing like custom Jedi.
right. I mean, we have standards for like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon, Mace, all the main characters, but you're able to take pieces of those and kind of piece them together for your own custom Jedi within reason.
Each of our main websites will have
Absolutely.
the reference libraries, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable for our costume stuff too. So.
And again, we all have business cards or brochures to hand out if you're interested.
We can come back to you.
Yes.
Son and I, we're interested in just kind of run-of-the-mill stormtrooper. And I know you sort of talked about cost and building that. But what would be the best way to just get initiated and get things started?
Join up on your local garrison's forums, which in this case is Ohio It's been a few years since I was at Ohio Garrison. Ohio Garrison?
That's right. Ohio 501st.
I'm originally from Ohio, but I've been in 4 different garrisons now, moving to work and school. So, but yeah, you can join up like local garrisons forums. It's a good place to just introduce yourself. Usually there's kind of like a new member in the
Yeah, so
area.
it's a general discussion on the boards. Says introductions, say hi.
You'll see links and discussions and stuff. There's a whitearmor.net is the detachment website for stormtroopers. In 501st, we go to the main 501st.com. There's like a link to detachments and garrisons. And detachments are like costume-specific forums. So White Armor is the stormtroopers. We've got the Grate Clan is Custom Raiders. FISD is the Sand Troopers. So there's just specific on that, and it's like to a insane level of detail on some of those things. But it's good because you'll see like where they list out some of the different vendors, and then obviously hanging out in person, like here, you get a chance to like see us at the table and talk to people. If there's ever armor parties around, if you're on the forums and you're kind of a new person, like remember some of the armor parties where you can come and hang out and actually see it being worked on. So yeah, the best way to go about it.
And a lot of these attachment forums and also the main Legion forums for all three groups have a lot of what we call work in progress threads, which would be if you bought a kit, you open up the box, and you say, well, what the heck do I do with this? You can go back and look through work in progress threads of people opening up their box and the process they went through. And there's plenty of tutorials on those, on how to build them. You want to?
The nice thing is, your size, you'd be able to do screen accurate. So you can actually get the actual screen like molded off of the screen use kind of stuff. You probably would maybe fit into it. Maybe would more want to go with what is it, Armor Master?
I don't know their name. But if you look like a starving British actor, you'll fit into a brick.
One thing to keep in mind, we're talking about the internet and the forums and whatnot, I've only been doing this for like 4 years. To start out, it's extremely overwhelming, and there's a lot of information out there. Keep in mind, people that do this, we're doing this for volunteer work, for charity work. We like to do it. We like to talk about what we do. That's why we're up here. I know that my first thing I read the Republic Commando novels, and I wanted a Republic Commando, and I got a Republic Commando, and it sat in a box for a year because I was so afraid to touch anything. And I got on the Ohio Garrison page, and I posted, hey, can I pay somebody to help me put this together? And I got smacked. They're like, no, we don't pay people to put armor together. We help you do it. We'll do it. And I waited, and then Jay...
You had it set at my house for 6 months?
Yeah. Then Jay put it together for me. He helped me. We sanded a lot.
Yeah.
We glued a lot. It's a very welcoming community, guys. It's not something to be afraid of. It's not... Don't be afraid to jump on there and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm looking for. If you go to the wrong site and you say, this is what I'm looking for, they're going to be like, hey, welcome. Go to this place. And they'll send you to the right place.
It is overwhelming when you first open that box, but it's just scary because my first clubs were put together, I had to trim it down with the drone. Okay, I think a little more meat. Now I get it. Okay, here's my cut line, and I'm done. You'll get used to it. Yeah.
People like us who've been doing it for a while, and we kind of laugh when we get new guys who are just like, oh, they just spend all this money.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's scary.
We just go, give it to me, and just grab it, and snap it.
Yeah, you drop like $500. It's one shot. It's not like no,
actually, that's not it. You can
if you want to.
Just to let you know.
down that road.
Just to let you know, you can buy a kit of Stormtrooper armor. It's going to cost you about $550. You got all the hard plastic, and all you got to do is assemble it. If you want to sculpt and vacuum form your own stuff, let's just say you've got the vacuum form table already built. It would cost you like $3 grand, $4 grand to build and wire a good, like if you really professional level kind of model. The time and effort that you're going to put into is going to be thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, and you have to actually make sure that it's sculpted perfectly correct to the Stormtrooper versus like there's people who I've seen do it, and it's tough because it's like, yeah, you spend all this time, but that's not shaped quite right. It's like one of the things where people always sometimes come in new and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to plan on sculpting my own like Stormtrooper armor. It's just like, no, just buy a kit. Some stuff you can scratch build, but it's easier. I mean, the guy that I know who we'll be wearing separate makers kits, so that when you see the two of us together, there's slight variations in the sculpt kind of thing. Like the guy that I got mine from, he said, he's like, if I would charge like some obscene amount of money, he's like, the amount of suits that I'd have to sell before I even hit the break-even point on what I put into the vacuum form table, the supplies to make the bucks, and sculpting and all the hours and stuff like that. It's ridiculous.
not to discourage you by any means,
Yeah,
but at the same time.
I was pretty overwhelmed myself.
It's very overwhelming.
And there are some, I didn't mean to cut you off. There are some suits, like with the animated clones, for example, even with the stormtroopers, which we call TKs, there are size differences. The kit that John has is a little bit more forgiving in size of body, as opposed to the kit that I have. And it's the same with the, is it AM? Stormtrooper
The
armor?
AM armor is bigger and has a lot more trim down area. The screen accurate armor is built for like 5'9" average and very lanky build. Like I hold that chest armor up and the shoulder scoops pass right about at the nipple line. So like it looks like I'm wearing like a wife beater if I hold up the screen accurate size armor. Like so a bigger guy like me, it's way too small. You know.
I'm fairly new, like exactly a year I've been in the group, and I'm working on another character. I like to connect with people, so I got grouped with my Bausch, and now I'm working on the next one, which is Ahsoka. And so now I'm having different guys within the group help me where they're experts. Like I have a lightsaber guy, I'm guy for the clothes. I can't make anything, but they know people, so I feel confident that we're gonna put it together.
And it's fun, like I mentioned the term armor parties. There's a lot of times we just have hangouts. We call it an armor party because it's like, yeah, a bunch of people hanging out at the house and we're working on whatever. People bring not necessarily the Star Wars stuff, like whatever costume thing you want, we're hanging out, you know. Down at my house down in Georgia, it works out great for me because I live alone. I got a pretty good sized house, but I've got like industrial sewing machines. I've got like the big garage and big space and all the different tools and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice because sometimes you get people where it's like, you know, you have all that workspace. And like I said, it's like that expert level. Like sometimes like that, you know, we've got armor parties. We've had armor parties where it's like, you know, there's one person who might be more of a sewing soft goods expert, and there might be one person who's like a scratch builder expert kind of thing. So it's kind of nice. And sometimes that even works because you can kind of trade. You can kind of be like, oh, well, I know how to wire electronics. Would you mind building this part for me? And I can do like a light kit for your blaster or something. You know, so sometimes there's like, you know, we do a lot of that kind of barter system trading.
We actually, down in the Cincy area, we actually have a weekly one that we do. We literally just basically hang out at Chuck's here.
Hosted by Chuck.
And it could be armor, it could be the speeder bike that's taken the past 3 months to do. It could be pretty much anything, your blasters, your whatever you want to bring. We've had Mandos come in, we've had white armor come in, we've had pretty much anything you can think of has come through the shop.
Everything, sewing, back forming, welding, mold making, prop making from scratch.
Yep.